maxing out 8 p.m. and leveling up. Skill shots, build orders, gotta gear up with legendary drops. So let's go and do the daily grind. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Grind again with your hosts, Shaun Kopp and Myles Eshenique.
Heyo.
Myles, how are things?
Things are good. A little under the weather. I can't even talk.
The
under
weather.
the weather.
That wascally weather.
Over here in California, I didn't think it was possible to be under the weather, you know. I guess.
Now you guys got that rain.
Yeah, right. We're dying of thirst out here and stuff. I got a little sick last week, so took Friday off and been laying low and still kind of kicking my butt a bit. So that's why I sound a little bit different this week. Other than that, it's summertime's rolling in, so yeah, can't complain. The weather's picking up. Getting us in the 70s today. We're going out to the beach this weekend, so
nice.
Life's good. How about yourself?
Yeah. Well, I feel ill for a different reason, and the fact is that I no longer have a job at my liquor store because they closed down. But there were some epic beers drank about, 2 nights in a row, and I feel horrible. My body just hates me.
Yeah.
I took 4 poops today.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it was, my body is just in revolt right now. Every cell, every muscular tissue.
Was this like a day drinking thing?
Well, I mean, we did start around 3, but I mean, then you just kind of petered off towards dinner time, and then during the evening on the very last night that we were open.
So you guys are just drinking up all the inventory then?
No, we sold all the inventory, but there's all these beers that are, brought from our cellars.
Oh.
I brought a 17% alcohol beer. Customers would come in. I had my first taste of Pliny the Elder. Actually,
yeah, I saw that. Well, so what'd you end up thinking of that one? Is it worth all the hype?
Yeah, I could definitely. I think it's a really beautiful beer. I think it, when it came out, it's probably definitely worth the hype.
Uh-huh.
But nowadays, I think in that beer they use, some pretty common hops, and it makes for a really tasty beer. But there's so many experimental hops and new varieties of hops that have come out. When you're, making a hop-centric beer, there's a lot of different paths you can take. I could definitely see that being one of the better double IPAs in the country in its time.
Yeah.
I've drank a lot that are on par with it now that are newer and, a little bit more revolutionary.
Yeah, I'd probably say that back in when microbrew was starting to make its way up, this is probably a clear, standout from the crowd. But
oh, yeah.
I think
it still is.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's definitely well renowned and sought after. But I think I had told to you maybe off air. You sent over that Surly Furious.
And Abrasive, I think.
And Abrasive? Which one is the hoppier one? I forget.
Abrasive was the double IPA.
Abrasive, so that's the one. Yeah. I think that, I told you before, I think that one was actually slightly better. I think,
we did a blind taste test, apparently, or I shouldn't say we, because my former employees did it right before I got hired, which I was kind of bummed about, but they did a bunch of, basically double IPAs from across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And Abrasive won in a blind taste test. So, yeah, they tasted everything blind. Pliny, Heady Topper from up in Vermont. So, yeah, and so this is a nice segue into what you're drinking tonight. Myself, I'll start. I'm drinking a brand new beer for myself. It's called Ode from Castle Danger. And it is an IPA, and they make really nice beers. Nothing too crazy as far as hoppiness, but just a nice, really well-rounded citrus with just a little bit of sweetness, but it's pretty dry. They're up in Two Harbors, Minnesota, which is about 20 minutes north of Duluth. What are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a Firestone Wookiee Jack, which is, I can't talk today, I'm sorry. Wookiee Jack, which is a black rye IPA. You turned me on to I think it was called the Cascadian Pale Ale. It's
a Cascadian Dark Ale.
Oh, that's what it is, a CDA. Yeah. And that was from Deschutes, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so.
So you turned me on to this style of dark black IPAs probably a year or two ago now. But yeah, this is a really yummy one. Smell is just fantastic. I could probably smell this beer all day and be happy. Just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I love the smell of this beer in particular.
They're usually pretty like roasty and piney.
It's a good mix, man. It's yummy.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to do to make like a really enjoyable black IPA. So good. I'm excited for the next time I can try some Firestone Walker.
I've got one on my kitchen counter still here waiting for you, so that's going to need to be shipped out. I think you said it's got a couple years shelf life, so it's, it's safe and sound for now, but I will get it to you in its peak, the apex of drinking.
I'll take it anytime, man.
You got it.
So, should we talk about video games this week?
Yeah, probably. I mean, right?
That's
the thing that we do here. Oh, yeah, this is level 5, by the way. So,
yes.
Right around this level in World of Warcraft, you would be fighting Murlocs and some kind of harpy, I think. So,
yeah, the endless war against Murlocs.
Yeah. So, anyways, congratulations. You made it here.
Cool.
And thanks for sticking with us. So
I will arm myself.
Yeah, you get to unlock the Fireball rank 2 this episode.
Cool.
So, what have you been playing?
Well, it was a busy week last week. I've still been playing Destiny. I really wanted to try something new for this week that I could talk about, and it so happens that we both got new video cards for our computers.
Yeah, humble brag. Nah.
That's right. So we both ended up going with the same card, actually, the EVGA NVIDIA 980 Ti.
Yes. Did you got the part number is like $49.95?
I wish that was the cost of it. But,
that would have saved a little bit. I'm not going to actually pay rent this month.
Nice.
So,
that's good. Yeah,
I'm doing a lot of yard work around the complex.
Awesome. Making brownies and...
Yeah, just generally taking the trash out, doing little spotty jobs, painting and stuff.
So my 980 Ti actually came with the new Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I saw you playing that
yes.
today, actually.
So the PC port of it was beleaguered with problems. Was capped at 30 frames per second. Had huge aliasing problems. Very spotty visuals, essentially. The gameplay was delayed. They pulled it off selling it on Steam, but now I don't know if it's back for sale on Steam, but they recently released a patch that I figured I'm just going to give it a go.
Yeah. And
see how it works, because they fixed a lot of the main problems, I guess. And this game is... It works great now. There could be just a few other probably little piecemeal things
like
worked on.
Quality of life, or I mean,
yeah. Like for me, the untrained eye on this card, the game looks amazing. Like I have no problem with it. This game is the reason why I bought a new video card, just to be able to experience things like this.
Mm-hmm.
The attention to detail and world building that Rocksteady has done over the years is unreal. Like that sort of visceral, making you feel like the Batman, making you feel like you're in this world, whether it be in Arkham Asylum or the city of Gotham itself. And I'm not even like a huge Batman fan, but these games make me feel like the Batman every time.
Right.
They make me feel like the superhero, and this game is no different. I mean... One thing I'll say about it, starting out, I mean, if you haven't, and I think there are a few people that haven't, if you haven't played Arkham Asylum, or at least Arkham City, it's really important to play those first, because the game hits the ground running.
Well, like, it doesn't take away your abilities, right, from what I remember.
Yeah. So you start out with, there's those upgrades, but you start out with every, like, tool.
Right.
So you have the grapple hook, you have the batarangs, like, you don't just, like, get those. You even have the line, I forget what they call it.
I can't remember what the heck it's called either.
It's like, it makes a line, it shoots a line out that you can hang on and crawl on and everything.
Yep.
So you just start out with everything, so it kind of assumes that you know the systems and you know the combat and everything, like it gives you just like this brief little introduction, but
just a
the
little
game
rehash, like little here you go.
Right, yeah, just like, and it's super quick. It assumes that you have played the games before. It throws you right in the story, too. Like, straight up, just, this is the story, this is the crap that's going down in Gotham, and here you go on a mission. Like, there's very little introduction to the game.
Yeah, that's how I remember. I think it was probably Arkham City when you meet the Penguin. Is that correct? When you fight him at the start, and he kind of beats you up.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Exactly.
In that they immersed you quite quickly. But I could see how you're saying if you wanted to jump into this game, you would be pretty overwhelmed just having all these gadgets at your disposal without being familiar with the way they control and the way Batman controls as a result of like all the repelling. And just one of my favorite things is when you do the grapple hook and then you like launch off of the point you were grappled to. It's awesome. But
yeah, the grapnel shooter or whatever.
Grapnel.
So I just played this game today, and I think I have about 4 hours logged on it today.
Good God, that's
Obviously, I didn't have work or anything. I played during my daughter's nap time, and then I played a little bit before we started the podcast. This game, it has me floored. Like, this is no joke. This is one of the most phenomenal gaming experience that I've had that's outside of like a multiplayer experience in recent memory.
Sure, yeah.
You know, the multiplayer experiences like League of Legends, like Destiny, are great for those reasons. But the immersive world-building adventure thing, this is hands down very, very impressive. I'm absolutely floored by it. And it's all the little touches in the game, and especially running on high tech. I am absolutely blown away by it.
Yeah. How's the sounds like these, you're kind of the exception to the rule at this point. Is yours running at above 30 frames per second then?
It is, yeah, because they just removed the cap.
Okay.
So now I'd say I'm at about like 45 to 60 frames per second. It's performing really well. It's so immersive because there's not really a HUD. There's all these little menus. I mean, if you've played a Batman game before, especially Arkham City, you know that he can pull up all these little menus. Everything feels like really well integrated. Like he's this tech savvy, billionaire that has all these special OSs and systems that, help him do all these crazy technical things within the world, like hack into things, develop DNA samples, investigating crime scenes.
That was actually a lot more fun than I was expecting it to be. And then
have you played this game, or are you talking?
I haven't. No, I'm talking about prior games, like the crime scene
sure.
investigation when you had to follow the tracks and use the bat vision and stuff. But one of my favorite things about this game, it's always the stupid little things in games that just like I appreciate. When you're doing,
and this game is full of those, by the way.
Yeah, so this the one that I like is when you're picking a lock or like hacking into something and you have the thumbsticks. And you have to rotate them, and then it does like a slight rumble on that side of the controller, and then it does the other side, and you get.
So I know you like those kind of things. This game is chock full of it, and the variety of those little touches, those little like essentially like mini games that you're playing. Whether you're solving puzzles laid out by the Riddler or you're trying to match a DNA sequence, there's all these little mini games that essentially make the controller feel like a piece of technology that Batman knows how to use.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like just an integration of it's just intuitive, right?
Right. So it takes you maybe like 2 seconds to figure out, okay, because there is so much variety in like these little puzzles. It takes like 2 seconds to figure out, okay, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? And then all of a sudden you just get it.
It just clicks.
Yeah, exactly. So all these the environment, there's like no placeholder things. There's no like repurposing that is noticeable. It seems like every corner of this open world is handcrafted to perfection.
There's just no copy pasta, you mean, in like the buildings and set pieces.
Right. It's all like you go up and down this elevator to do some Riddler stuff. I don't want to spoil anything because the story has me in amazement so far. Like, it can feel a little disjointed and kind of rushed at times, but the kind of things that they pull in the first 4 hours has me just wanting to get back into that world and like step into Batman's shoes again. Or boots. I
was going to say boots, yeah.
Yeah. So I just wrote down like a stream of consciousness kind of thing while I was playing because I knew I was just getting sucked in and I wanted to take a step back to realize what I was appreciating about the game.
Sure.
So the dialogue in the game, like, it can feel a little disjointed, as I mentioned, but it feels like it's playing out like a comic book, like...
Well, here's a question. The voice actor is back, right? Because they went away from him for Arkham Origins, I believe, and now I think the original guy's back. I can't remember his name, though.
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy, I think?
That sounds right, yeah.
But
he's very good. I mean,
he's from the cartoon, right?
Yeah, he's given a lot of, like, kind of crappy lines sometimes. Like, it's a lot of, like, I'll stop him. Or like,
like comic book lines.
Right, exactly.
Like one panel of a comic page, like...
Yeah. Like, we just have to get through this, Jim. Like, we just need to get through tonight. Nothing's over until the end of the evening.
Yeah.
It's just like, it feels a little corny at times, and plus his, in dialogue right now, not all of them, but some dialogue, he's very rigid, and he has been in other games, but when a game's so well crafted like this, it's the little things stand out that take you out of the world. But there's so many things that reel you back in. Just amazing things, like you get to drive the Batmobile now, and you can just summon it from anywhere, and it feels like Batman, the Batman movies, Batmobile, because there's so many like particle effects and destructible objects that as you're driving this hunk of machinery through Arkham, you're crushing concrete, and you're hitting things like in a very real way. You're like knocking things over, and everything responds with the correct feel of weight, like you're driving a 4-ton tank through Gotham, and it's just like, it just gives me the shivers. I'm like, oh my, like you feel like a powerhouse,
that's so you're saying that like all the geometry in the game is destructible light posts and like little street signs and everything else,
and it's down to everything, like the guide rails essentially, they don't stop they don't stop the Batmobile. You actually just crush over.
Well, that's like refreshing. I hate stopping
like
dead against those sort of things. Drives me nuts.
And there are things with the geometry, like if the Batmobile falls on its side, then it takes like a little while for it to like fall down or to go upside down, so you can flip it over. But even when you flip it over, like if you end up like on your back in the Batmobile, you're like, oh, this is gonna feel like a Halo warthog flip, right? It's gonna be like, whoop. No, it's like somebody's flipping the heaviest pancake in the world with a jet blaster.
Nice.
It's like on one side, and you're like, oh, like, oh,
very visceral and meaty.
Yeah, visceral and meaty.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any way you could perpetrate that amount of carnage and mayhem and not incur a considerable amount of paperwork.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, at this point, like it's not breaking spoilers to say that like the city is essentially evacuated except for the bad guys.
Yeah.
So you're just the renegade. It's very much like Arkham City in that way. It's like, could you imagine being a resident of Gotham and being like, God,
every time
I just got moved back in.
The property values are just they're going through the floor,
sinking. Yeah.
That's rough.
So everyone's being evacuated, and you're that. So the one thing about this game too is, I'm like gushing over the visual experience in the game. Rocksteady knows they made a pretty game, and they'll like slow down the camera at certain times to just like show it off, and just like if you didn't have the right card, or if you're playing on a really low grade computer, like even like the 780 Ti or the 780 Ti that you were running, or the 780 that I had, or I'm sure on the consoles, they slow it down and they show their game off, which I love.
Yeah, like slow-mo shots with all the particles and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then as soon as they show it off a little bit, it's right back to driving the Batmobile, or it's what I'm saying. Like it's not slow down. Look at this. Okay, loading time. It's like right back in your control.
Right.
Like the attention. You liked the Batman games before, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I've played through all of them up to this point. Yeah. So
I actually didn't play Origins because it was made by somebody else with WB, right?
It took me out of it so much, honestly, the voice actor being gone. So I'm happy that he's back. So this game I've actually be like more immersed in. So I'm looking forward to that. I got it free as well for my video card. So
yeah.
I'll be popping that in eventually.
as soon as you get into that game and you're running it on the new card, you're going to be thinking a lot of the same things that I am, because it's in my opinion so far, I don't see it changing, but I'm looking at this game and I'm not usually one to just throw out nomenclature for games, but this one feels in the first 4 hours like a masterpiece.
Well, that's good. You're going to beat it then, right?
I'm going to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to.
That's
and
good.
It's one of those things that, I like you. I know that you like the collectibles in games, and doing all those little, minute details and quests and adventures. This game is just like the other ones, rife with them. I think it's like something like a 12 to 15 hour storyline, and then of course you do all the other little bits and pieces.
That's got to be up to 30 at least. I mean,
at least. So anyways, Arkham Knight. So far, I'm 4 hours into it. I can't recommend it enough. If you have a console that, it's built for, or you have a PC with a high-end video card, I'd say last generation or higher, it's worth playing. It's just the story itself. They just throw so many really cool things right away, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this one ends, because this is Rocksteady's last Batman game.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep. And but you consider that it's very sad, but also, this Batman trilogy essentially has really stamped its place in superhero games and games in general.
Just like the Dark Knight trilogy, really. I mean, it's kind of brought Batman back into cultural relevancy. So
showing this attention to detail, this immersive world, fun combat, I'm looking forward to what Rocksteady has next. What they have their sights set on.
Yeah, no, this is a vote of confidence from you if I've ever heard one. I mean, in the last 6 months, it's been mainly about Destiny. That's the only real game that you've kind of lauded, Yeah,
absolutely. Yep, I'm fully behind it so far. Again, 4 hours in, but with their pedigree and having loved the last games along with the rest of warm-blooded Americans, this is right along those lines and so much more.
Well, good. So, glad to hear that it's something salvageable out of this kind of fiasco that's going on.
Yep. So what have you been playing lately? Anything different? You sunk your teeth more into... Well, okay. I'll let you choose the games you want to talk about.
What were you thinking I sunk my teeth into?
I was gonna say you sunk your teeth a little bit more into Ark.
Yeah, actually. Last night, I don't know what got into me. I just, it was a Sunday night, slow day. I got Chris on Splatoon for a little bit, so I played a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, Ryan and Grady were on Ark, so I hopped on and kind of farted around. I didn't read the patch notes, but it felt a little better to me, just running around in general. It felt a little smoother. And additionally, the experience gains seem to be buffed, so I got a few levels in me, but even still, the leveling needs to be seriously condensed. The durability of items leaves a lot to be desired. There's just a lot of minor quality of life things that, when added together, it really makes for kind of a frustrating experience overall. You never feel like you're kind of set. In Minecraft, you could get established, and you had your food supply, you had a nice mine, you had made yourself some armor and swords and stuff. But this game just feels like you're always on the verge of your items breaking, or you being hungry or thirsty. So it's just a little frustrating.
Yeah, there's just so many systems to manage, right?
Yeah,
that's how I felt playing it.
So I really feel reluctant to play it. I'll just, last night was an exception. I played for a few hours and was like, this is kind of fun again. And then toward the end of the night, I was thinking, man, our time spent is just not yielding anything significant.
That's the one thing. I mean, we've compared this new game Ark to Rust before, and I would sit down at Rust and play without anyone for a while. This game only seems fun with people.
Yeah, I would say that for sure.
Obviously, playing with friends, increases enjoyment usually exponentially in video games.
Well, the thing that I was thinking about with Ark in particular, the reason I find Ark a little more like fun and exciting, in addition to say Splatoon, is that it's new, and experiencing like new content that everyone's kind of on the same level playing field is a lot more like engaging than it is, for example, playing Destiny with you guys who already know everything. You have the gear,
sure.
And I'm just sitting there like dying a lot because I don't know the mechanics or where to hide or what to shoot and whatnot. And additionally, I just simply don't do damage sometimes. In some of the fights we went into, I could not damage the enemies. They were so much higher than me.
Right, that's been the real uphill battle, at least with you coming in and being at sort of like the awkward level that you are.
Right.
Like, it'll be one of those things where before you know it, you're level 32 to 34, and all of a sudden
I can contribute.
Things get easy. I mean, we've been trying to do it the slow or the quick and easy way in raids with you.
Yeah, the RNG gods have not been kind.
Smiled upon you.
Yeah.
No. But you do a few dailies here and there. Pop on for an hour or two every couple days, and you'll be up there soon. So
yeah, so I felt a little spread thin lately. I'm trying to like meet with all my cohorts, like playing Destiny with you guys, and then playing like Here's the Storm with Chris and the other gang from Minnesota, and then Ark with the Roth boys. So I'm just kind of like spreading out, but also trying to like play games for myself. So I played Hearthstone, and I was like thinking, I started this kick back when we were in Minnesota, actually, a couple of those long car rides and on the BART and stuff, and just sitting around in the hotel at night. So I got back into Hearthstone, started playing some ranked, and made a pretty good run this month. I actually got up to rank 9, which is the highest I've ever been. And
nice.
I had a little bit of continuity with my Heroes of the Storm rank, which is also 9, so I figured that's a good place to stop. So I think I've left my mark in it. I consider that kind of like the equivalent of hitting gold in League for both games. So I think I'm done with the ranked play. I think I've kind of plateaued.
Until next month?
No, honestly. No, I think I'm kind of done with the ranked play.
Time to turn a page.
Well, I'll be still playing it, but it's not like one of those things I'm going to sit and grind out,
Sure.
So I was sick last weekend. I played Hearthstone a lot. I climbed from 16 to 9 that weekend. It was a war of attrition, I guess. There was a lot of back and forth, and I was playing an aggro hunter, and those games can turn pretty quickly.
Face hunters, yeah. If you don't like have them at a certain spot before turn 4,
oh yeah, it's over. There's so many board clears. So
unless you have them like down to 10 health and you can like hit them in the face a few times,
or go behind their taunts, with your spells.
It's essentially a race at that point.
Yeah, so I played a lot of that, and I also got a lot of time in Splatoon this weekend. Got a new weapon that was like a new lease on that game's life. I was getting a little frustrated with the lag that was sitting in there. It seemed like every time I'd log on, I'd be getting killed after the fact. I'd kill someone and then I'd die, and I was like, it's just frustrating. The server tries to like reconcile both players' actions, so they just kill both of you, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's odd. But
well, hopefully the player base has a vested interest in this game. It seems like they do, enough to demand a closer look at some of the network issues from Nintendo.
Yeah, I would hope that they do something with that, because I was playing a few nights, and I was like a loom weaving a tapestry of vulgarities. It was just ridiculous.
It was graceful.
Yeah, I was so upset, but I got a new lease on that
game. A Russian ballerina
game.
of cussing.
A Russian ballerina. I was pirouetting F-bombs and stuff.
Nice.
So, actually, I was flipping out the screen a lot. Let's just leave it at that. I was very upset with that game, but got a new lease, got a new weapon that is a ridiculous amount of fun. I'm actually topping the charts consistently in games now. And
what weapon are you using?
It's one that you unlock through the story, actually. So
okay.
You have to beat through level 3. It takes a really long time. I think I probably put 3 or 4 hours into the campaign before I unlocked it. It was pretty lengthy, but worth it. So Splatoon, and then the other game is the Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh yeah. There's a new episode on that,
Yep,
right?
episode 3.
Okay.
I spent some Sunday afternoon after grocery shopping beating that, and man, that game is it's the best Telltale games.
I was just going to ask, is this your favorite
Absolutely.
Telltale game?
It is just so in keeping with the Borderlands writing. It's very sardonic and it's just very dark and witty and sarcastic, and everyone's just having a good time, and there's stupid jokes in there that are just obvious jokes, but they're still fun.
If you haven't played a lot of Borderlands games, or if you haven't played a lot of Borderlands, but you were a fan of Telltale games, would you enjoy this?
Probably. It's hard to say because there's one character that's kind of historically a villain.
Handsome Jack?
Yes, Handsome Jack. I didn't know if it would be taboo to throw that name out there. Or it's I don't want to spoil anything, but he's a kind of a big part, and the sort of
his character's great too.
Oh, it is. He's so dismissive of human life, and he's just an asshole.
Yeah,
I mean, that's it.
He seems like a bad guy from Spaceballs.
Yeah,
right. In a way, like going through and blowing up any planets that get in his way,
and just making jokes about the way in which he kills things. Like there's these audio logs that you'd get, and you'd hear him killing someone in the background in the game.
You're like, oh, did you see the way his head just blew up? I think I got some on me.
Yep.
It's like that's the kind of stuff he'll say. This might be like other Telltale games with me, where I just wait to play it until
all the installments.
All the episodes are. Oh yeah,
I can see that, and I feel conflicted at times because I've done that with The Walking Dead and played through all 5 episodes, and it felt kind of chorey to me just to play through them. But rather, when I do it in bits, it doesn't feel as big of an undertaking. At least with Borderlands.
Do you feel like? Do you feel like the previously on thing, the previously on trope works for you, or do you forget a lot of the ins and outs of the story between installments or episodes?
There's a little bit of minutia that you'll miss out, and it'll be rehashed outside of that previously on segment. Like it'll come up in the dialogue, for example. But no, I think it's hard. If you have a good memory and you're not playing so many games, it'll kind of maybe be a little more. You might just get the whole snapshot. I had a hard time figuring out what was what for a few minutes there, but man, it's just the most it's in keeping with the Borderlands franchise, independent of it.
It's got the feel.
It absolutely does. So
it's got the feel.
It's just incredible.
This is my question to you. I'm glad you're enjoying that. Telltale's working on a game with Mojang. I think that's how you say it.
Mojang.
The Minecraft guys, right? They're going to make a Minecraft Telltale's games.
I don't
adventure game.
like that.
No, so how do you keep the feel of Minecraft if you don't have the creation? Or you try to implement characters.
That's weird. I did not know that. I think that's going to be that sounds like a train wreck to me, but I mean, who knows? Yeah. I thought they were working on a Minecraft movie at one point.
Oh, they probably are. I mean, you don't leave a title obviously it's still making money, but you don't leave a title like this dormant.
That just sounds awful to me personally, but I mean, it is Telltale Games. We'll see what they can do with it.
They have a pretty good track record.
I'd say so. This game is just a step above every other one I've played. I think Wolf Among Us is probably my second favorite.
See, and I never beat that, but I loved that game. I love the Lewis Carroll. I shouldn't just say Lewis Carroll, but the whole, Lewis Carroll, Brothers Grimm, or all that fairy tale nonsense.
Yeah, there's quite a few in life. There.
And I haven't read any of the Fables comic books or graphic novels.
Yeah, no, this one's just unbelievable. The opening credits, as it were, are just so much fun.
Right in the feels.
Yeah, it's just,
it just feels right at home.
It's just a ragtag group of vault hunters, kind of traveling around, and it's just great. So I love it. I would recommend it.
I love that I love the idea of the game because there's already so much personality in Borderlands.
Yep.
But so much of the game consists of you collecting loot and shooting guns, and just the idea of expanding upon that silly nonsense that is Borderlands and just like all the wacky Mad Maxy characters that are in in that weird world, and them coming to life and having dialogue options with them rather than just shooting them,
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. It controls a little weird at times, but that's to be expected, I think, in games like this. They just don't quite control the way you would, just directionally speaking.
Right.
The way the character moves. But that's alright, I can let that slide. It's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
The voice acting in this game is just awesome, though. I didn't know, so I was having the hardest time figuring out if it was Troy Baker or Nolan North, who were the voices of Booker DeWitt from BioShock Infinite and Nathan Drake, respectively.
Sure.
Nolan North does a lot of video game voiceover, as does Troy Baker, but voice acting is phenomenal in this game. Chris Hardwick's he does a voice in this game. He's the guy who hosts the Talking Dead show.
Okay, sure.
The Nerdist podcast. But,
yep.
It's good.
He's a funny guy.
I would recommend this. Pick it up on Steam sale if you have to. Do whatever.
I mean, I've always found the value proposition for those Telltale games whenever you buy them to be very reasonable. I mean, it starts out right out of the gate at $25 on Steam, and I would imagine other operating systems. Isn't that it's $25 pretty much for all of them?
Yeah,
right?
That's like the season pass, I think.
Yeah, and that gets you like 5 seasons, five episodes.
Yeah, and each episode's about 2 hours, so 10 hours for $25, and you get it on sale for like 12.5. I think it was on sale for this Steam Summer Sale.
I mean, I'll be honest. Nearly every Telltale game that's come out, I get pumped for, and then I don't end up playing them until all 5 episodes are out. And I still pay the $25 right out of the gate.
I think you get a lot of value out of it, a lot of experience, a lot of story. I don't really care that it's not a game in the strictest sense of the word. I just love watching the story. Yeah,
you get to be a part of it. Well, cool. Well, we're going to be on the flip side of a break here, talking about probably some more games and a few more of our wandering thoughts, and maybe we'll have a little bit more of a composed podcast next week. But for the time being, we're going to take a break right now.
Yep.
Au revoir. Hey guys, welcome back to the other side of our break on the Daily Grind.
You've sat down, you've drank your mana potion or ice cold milk, which I think is an item in World of Warcraft, and your moldy bread for 3 stinking days.
Yeah, not about margarine bread.
That was the clincher for Chris and my friendship, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I said that in a Skype call or something, and he was like, I like you. So
Lord of the Rings quotes go a long way in this family.
Yeah, I think so. So I had a topic that we didn't get to touch on last week.
Hit me with it.
All right. So I wanted to talk about my blatant, runaway, ridiculously irresponsible spending in the Blizzard franchise flagship. Yeah, their ecosystem, I guess you could say. I don't know why. I was thinking about this actually when we were in Minnesota, because I bought some cards while I was on the plane, I believe. And so I was like, you know what? I wonder how much I've spent cumulatively over the years on Blizzard products or games, So I wasn't able to I couldn't check all the various cards I've had and subscriptions and whatever else. So I contacted a nice GM who was able to provide me with some of my subscriptions for World of Warcraft over the years. And that was a pretty big number. So, do you want to take a guess at how much I've spent just in subscription?
In subscription to World of Warcraft?
Yes. Since 2007.
Okay, when did the game launch?
2005, I believe.
Okay.
Or 4, but I got in late around the Burning Crusade expansion, so
15 times 10, you got 150. I mean, probably $800 in subscriptions.
You nailed it.
Did I?
Pretty close. I mean, that was good. $845.52.
Yeah.
This is a combination. This is what the guy told me of those game time cards, of monthly subscription, annual subscription, any free time gained through that refer a friend. So this includes like just everything.
I love that you took the time to contact somebody at Blizzard saying, just hit me with it.
Oh, well, I told him I'm a kind of a data, sort of geek like that. That's what I work with. And
yeah.
And he said, no, I understand completely. So he pulled it right up for me. And yeah, I figured this would be a kind of a revelatory, I don't know if that's a word,
sure,
thing on the podcast to kind of share this and
get it out in the open.
Yeah,
first step
come out of the closet.
Anonymous.
Blizzard Alex, I don't know. I like a lot of their fine virtual ales. So that was in subscriptions, mind you.
Okay, yeah.
So now let's move on to character things.
It doesn't sound out of control to me. It doesn't. I mean,
we're talking about
over the course of that time.
That's 8 years, from 2007 to 2015.
Sure.
I played on and off. I mean, it hasn't been solid.
Right.
So that was for the subscription.
Okay.
So now, total World of Warcraft. This is like in-game mounts that you buy, server transfer, character change, like race change, and everything.
The subtitle of this podcast is "How Rich Is Myles Eshanique?"
Oh, I think
and how not rich is he now?
Right, a tragic tale of before and after.
Your experiences have made
you
rich.
And mind you, I just got a 980 Ti. Again, not paying rent, so it's. I might just be moving in with Chris if we're honest. So, anyways, total World of Warcraft spending. What do you think it is?
Okay, so how much is the average amount? Is it about like $15-20?
25.
Really? Holy moly.
25.
Okay. And over the course of this time, how old were you when you started playing in 2007?
17.
Okay.
I had to think about that.
Yeah. And so okay, I'll venture a guess. I'll say $450.
So you're just saying this is not cumulative. Just do total lumped together then. So that would be around 1,200.
Oh, right. So you're adding everything on there?
Yeah, everything.
Okay, so we're tacking it on. Okay, so and this would end World of Warcraft, like there's no other okay.
Yep, it's everything.
Yeah, I'll say I'd say like 1,300.
You're a little shy.
Okay.
$1,500.
Okay.
Yep, $1,540.48.
Okay. I'm sure you're not at the top of the barrel there.
I probably not, honestly.
Considering
we're talking about people who have played since day one.
Yeah.
Had multiple accounts potentially. The people who I can't remember what it's called when you have more than one account and you're running them all at the same time.
Multi-boxing.
Multi-boxing, is that it? I thought there was some other term, but yeah, I read actually on Reddit there's some guy who raided by himself. He had that many accounts to raid with himself. I think it was like something. It was over 30. I think it was 37. He didn't quite have the 40-man raid. We're talking classic here.
That is such an impressive thing to do.
I don't even know how you do that.
I do not have the least amount of like respect for the man or the woman that's doing that, but I do have respect for the act itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something that's so far beyond me.
It's a lot of, I mean, like you said, it's like, really? That's how you're going to spend your time on this earth? But, that's okay. People have their different callings.
Sure.
I think it's incredible, but
I mean, I wouldn't like to see the numbers that I've spent on alcohol in my life.
Well, yeah, that would. That's
maybe I don't know of a single person that would like to see that.
I would if I could.
Like Tony Robbins or something like that.
So, I mean, we're talking about 8 years of game time here. The other part of it is just how much time was spent in game. I mean, I checked Eudora. Last time I checked, I think she was up to. This is my main, my paladin.
Elf paladin.
Yeah, so
High
I
elf?
think she was up to Blood Elf.
Blood Elf, that's right.
So I think she was up to like 160 days played, and this is just on my main.
See, that's the thing that always hurts me a bit more than the money spent. You know, maybe that's reflective of my like time money proposition.
Right.
But like I would rather, like spend the money to make something happen quickly than like do an incessant grind. Essentially, that amount of time it's always it's staggering for anyone to hear that. Especially outsiders that don't know. Like, oh my God, that's like half a year of your life. But yeah, it's recreation. I mean, how much time do you recreate? Outside of the things that you have to do.
Well, there's that. And my only saving grace was, I go AFK a lot in general.
Oh,
and
sure.
so, I mean, that racks up time. But even still, I'm not saying that it's not a ridiculous amount of time. And that's just on one character. This is, we're talking multiple characters. But, it's just a matter. This is a time in my life. I was in high school and college for the majority of my WoW days.
Sure.
And so you have nothing but free time unless you're a socialite and going to parties and stuff with fraternities or groups. And I didn't really do any of that in college. I kind of just stayed close to home and hanged out, I guess, with my roommates. And
hung out.
That was, I think it's hanged.
No, you didn't hang out with your friends.
We'll consult Chris.
I'm an English major too.
Yeah, but he's like an Englisher major.
Okay, whatever.
That's a word too.
So yeah, okay.
So, anyways, I don't know.
My back on these. Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't find myself really tasked with justifying or rationalizing it. It's like, yeah, it was a huge money sink, huge time sink, but it kind of kept me sane, through those times in college. It's fun to look back on the journey. Right. It's not something I actively have subscribed to now. It's not something I will contribute or spend a lot of time more in the future. Maybe a new expansion, I'll kind of log in, take my lumps, But that's it. That chapter is kind of done for all intents and purposes. I'll revisit it, but that's it. So, yeah, big time sink there. Big money sink there.
Was he able to tell you how much money you've given to Blizzard in...
Yes, I'm getting onto that.
Lifetime?
So, I looked at Diablo, and this one was $100. You pay for Diablo 3, pay for the expansion, $100. Cut and dry.
Flat.
There's nothing else there. I mean, there's nothing... I don't even know if there is microtransactions in that game whatsoever. But anyway, so I'm at $100 in Diablo. Now on to Hearthstone. You want to take a...
I'd be interested because I think I have an idea of how much I've spent.
Well, you can actually log into your account and look at your transactions, but these only date back to like 2009, and this didn't include a subscription. So that's why I had to contact this guy to get my WoW stuff. But anyways, you can find this out if you're sick in the head.
If I were to venture a guess at how much I've spent in Hearthstone since it came out, I would probably say $250.
Really?
I think, yeah, I'll be honest, because I play a bit more of Arena than you, so it's so easy if I don't have the coin to say, take my $2. Mm-hmm. And I've probably done that 40 times.
I'm actually surprised that it's that low.
Yeah. I mean, maybe more, and then, I bought the a couple of the $50 packs.
Yep.
Absolutely, because I want to build up that base card pool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of sets you, when you start seeing the cards that you're getting beaten by, that's the draw of it, right? You're like, that card's overpowered. Right. I need that. But you're not guaranteed it. You're not at all guaranteed it. So
yeah, well, until you have the extra dust to craft it.
Yeah, and that's just so demoralizing because you're like, oh my god, my money has literally devolved into this dust.
Right.
Just this dust that I'm making stuff
just
out
ashes. But if I were to venture a guess on how much you've spent in Hearthstone, because you're not the arena fiend that I am, I would say $200.
Oh, honey. Multiply that by 2.
No, really? Half. Wow, where does all your money gone?
So
I only play one class.
Yeah, I know, right? I just have a bunch of other cards for the other classes I'd never play. But hey, I'm branching out. I played a lot of Hunter this weekend.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So
the Face Hunter is a good deck to to roll into. So $400 in Hearthstone. I had no idea.
Higher. 2.5. I said 2.5.
$500.
Not quite that. $548.
Oh, wow.
I was stunned by that. It was just like, it's just a thing where I buy, I'm like, oh, I need some more cards. I'm going to get some more cards. And I do that, and then I just didn't get the cards, and then like a week later, I'm like, I didn't get that card. I want some more cards. So
this is one thing to note, kind listener, is that Myles is not a father.
Well, yeah, you should probably preface that with my disposable income.
he is not a husband, so not going out to do a lot of like social experiences, right?
Hey man, trips are expensive to Austin and Minnesota this year.
That's absolutely true, but I mean, you don't have a lot of expenditures, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, if we're being completely transparent, which is what this podcast is about, I mean, I just don't have a lot of... This is
your main hobby, right?
Yeah, right. And I just don't have a lot of overhead in my life. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. I don't have a car payment to make. I don't have a mortgage to pay. I'm renting currently. So, it's just... I have
and
kind of
you're making fair green.
I'd say so. I mean, I don't want to...
A fair day's work.
Yeah, I don't want to give that away on the podcast, per se, but...
No, you don't need to. But I'm just saying that you're getting paid fairly for a skilled job.
Yeah, right? And so I think I'm in a good place. I have a lot of time on my hands and a fair bit of money on my hands relative to a lot of other people my age who are moving forward in their family lives and stuff. So relative to other people, yeah, I guess my disposable income is up there a little bit. Not like ridiculously, but I mean, It's not one of those things I think too much about. Like when I go to the grocery store, if I see something, I throw it in my cart. It's not, there's no second guessing. If
you're a braver man than I am looking all these things up, because if I were to like tally up probably what I've spent in League of Legends, I mean, I'm sure it would justify the playtime, absolutely.
Sure, right.
But I'm sure it would shock me. Absolutely, it would. I mean, I'm probably at like $700 they've got money from me, like
in League.
I would say I'd say that's probably fair over the course of my time playing with it, which was a good 5 years now,
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I kind of look at it, and like I said, I don't like to justify my hobbies, because then it's just like, what are you trying to prove to anyone else? You enjoy what you enjoy for you. Right. It's not anyone else's. It's not their business. I like to share these things because I think it's just kind of fun to like take a step back and be like, oh my, like let's corral it a bit,
Right.
Let's get this in control and like, let's be transparent with each other and just be like, dang, like.
Well, it's one thing if we were to take it back a step and like think about, because I know that Casey, our friend, he has a real problem. I mean, if I'm to think of one person who has a problem with free-to-play games,
oh yeah,
I mean, he's like, I'm not going to spend any money on that. Obviously, he's a father and a kid. He's got different priorities, but that's a different type of gaming, right? He's gaming a different game essentially by playing whatever game it is as a free-to-play game, and trying to figure out the system that gets him rewards in the game, and there's absolutely those people out there, but I think there's something to be said about the free-to-play model, as League has essentially dropped the hammer on it, to say, how much enjoyment am I getting out of this? How much money am I willing to sink into this? Is it a good value proposition for me? And to take a step back rather than throw money at the screen.
I think there's also a level of like kind of like that instant gratification that we're all used to. I mean, I don't think a lot of people like to particularly admit that, but
it's like stepping up to a vending machine.
Yeah, I mean, you put money in, you get something out, it's shiny. That's another thing I'm a sucker for, is just opening those card packs is so satisfying. It's so satisfying.
Rare.
Yeah.
Golden rare.
Legendary. So it's just, I mean, those things are all there for a reason, like we talked about on the first podcast, I believe. But, I mean, you have those people that are kind of defiant and they don't want to spend money and they're patient, and that's something to be said for those people.
Yeah.
And
also the way that I look at it with games like the high res games that we've played, like Smite and Tribes Ascend, right? Where games aren't made for free.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in the Destiny community right now that are up in arms over like them essentially trying to make money off of, obviously their message in previous days. I could maybe go into it next episode, but not a clear message on what they were charging for exactly what you were getting, but a lot of people were up in arms because there's a lot of console players out there that are, I buy an expansion, I get this, and not many people are experienced, or not as many people are comfortable with paying for content that somebody has created,
Right. Yeah.
And the games don't make themselves. The developers and the community managers and the presidents, they need to eat and have a house to live in. You're paying for entertainment. Nobody bats an eye when they go in to see a movie and they're paying $25-$30 for snacks, concessions, and a ticket.
It's weird to me that I think the ubiquity of like these free-to-play games on both mobile and on consoles and PCs, people see these experiences that are readily available, and they see these other games like Destiny, these AAA titles, and they're like, well, why can't you give me that?
Why can't they do it?
And it's
for
like,
free?
well,
Right.
listen, you don't understand that chumps
You're not
are
building
funding your experience
Right.
in those free-to-play games.
You're not building a 2D tower here. We're connecting you with people all over the world and making sure that the experience is seamless and that the progression is retained
and not
we're
bought
adding,
into.
Yeah, and we're adding a new carrot on a stick every week. Like that costs money to do. There's people actively working and spending work days providing you entertainment.
Yeah, and I think there's just the disconnect there that people have gotten used to those free-to-play who are also the type that are defiant to pay into that, and they don't realize that other people are funding their experience.
Right.
And so they expect that out of others, but the business model is just different, period.
Right.
And I don't know, it's just kind of weird, but at the end of the day, like I said, I think it's just a hobby. You gotta kind of you got to corral that, and that's something that you got to manage yourself. The same way that you would manage a hobby like photography. You're not going to go out and buy painting, or bird watching. I don't know. Like there's so many things that you could, hiking or canoeing. There's just so many different paintball.
You can wear tennis shoes to go hiking, or if you want a more pleasurable experience, you can buy a high-end tent, a cooking set, really nice shoes,
Those
and
are
feel
a life changer, by the way.
And feel like you're dedicated to your hobby, right? So, and you're making money if you're functioning as a member of society. How are you going to stimulate the economy? Where are you gonna send it? Is it all going to go into savings?
Yeah, see, I'm kind of the belief that like that level of kind of frugality and just kind of like not wanting to let go of the money you've earned, it's like, well, I don't know, I believe in paying into the things that I enjoy. Like, for example, I picked up Fallout Shelter. I got I was playing it, and to me This
is the new mobile Fallout game that they announced, right?
Yes, sorry to shift gears.
Right. Yeah.
You can't get that because you have an Android, right?
Right, yeah, well, I do have an iPad at home.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's under use by the females in my house.
Sure. So I played that, and it started to feel like it was like couldn't get ahead. And I love Bethesda anyways. I love the Fallout games.
You hit that choke point.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me, honestly. So I was like, you know what?
Money?
Yes. So I did not want to bail out on this game. I wanted a Fallout, I wanted that, that kick. I needed my fix of Fallout. So I was like, I'm not going to nope out of this. I have this thing about building games in particular.
Were you enjoying the game?
Yes, it's a lot of fun. I'm surprised, honestly, how well it it looks, how good it looks,
right,
and how well it runs. I was just impressed with that and just the general system in the game. So to me, in these building games, I always feel compelled to get to the last stage, whether it's like Civilization or SimCity or Tropico. I just want to get to
the high level play,
like the apex. I just want to.
Got it.
I want to research everything. I want to get all the buildings. So this game, I didn't see that happening. I was like, screw this. I'm not going to be like nudged out of this, and I want to play it until I have all the survivors that I can. And
let me ask you something real quick.
Sure.
You were at what point during how many hours would you say you had spent on the game before you realized that they might be like I could profit from spending money on this game essentially?
Probably
how far in were you?
About 2 hours.
Okay.
I'd play it, probably like
Sure.
on like lunch breaks or when I'm going to bed.
This isn't a
down.
PC game here. This isn't like a console game. This is like a mobile game that you pick up every now and then.
Right.
But so it came up pretty quickly, the internal questioning.
Yeah, because to me I just felt like I was getting behind after the tutorial phase. Like everything's all fine and dandy in the tutorial phase, and then everything starts to get drained quicker, it seems, and you're hungry. Your vault denizens are hungry and thirsty, and they're out of power. So I was like, I don't want to be it. I don't want
your maternal instinct kicked in.
Well, it's that, and it's just like, you know what? Like, I don't care about spending money. I don't feel like super resentful towards Bethesda for feeling inclined to spend money. Like some people would be like, well, this is stupid. They're just obviously trying to get you to pay into it.
Well, it's
like
a free
whatever.
To play game, right? You can drop it at any point.
Right. But I was like, I don't care. Like, I want to experience this. I am compelled to build everything in this game and unlock everything. It's like, I'm just going to drop money. So I spent $15. I got the lunch boxes, which have cards in them. So just a side note, if you ever need money from me in real life, like if you need to pay rent, for example, and you need some money, all you have to do is like give me a pack of cards, and I will just be like, yeah, give me some of that. How much is your rent? Yeah, okay, whatever, that's fine.
I have some unopened magic cards that are just going to be sent your way here.
Give me those things.
All I need to say, and I know this, is there might be a card worth $50 in there.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What do you want? What
exactly.
Firestone beers do you want? I'll send them all your way.
Take my clothes. I don't need clothes.
That is like a mint. That just prints money, man. The opening cards is so satisfying. But anyways, I spent $15. I opened some packs. I got some like legendary vault dwellers. That's the word, dwellers, I was looking for.
Oh, so explain to me the cards in Fallout.
So basically, it's just like opening a pack of Hearthstone cards. You get 5 of them. You can get currency, which is the bottle caps, obviously.
Genius. You
can get the resources, which are the water, electricity, and food.
I want this game just so I can open packs.
The packs, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I don't know
just
what
so.
It is.
It's so devious and nefarious of these people to put that mechanic. Like that just is basically
that in like a tower building essentially. Game,
right. It's
like,
all they need is like to
the random element. That's what it is.
Well,
it's
there's that,
RNG, right?
But I also love like tapping the card and then like it flips over and you're like, that's crap. What about the next one? Like, oh my god, it feels like gambling.
Do you like pull tabs? Have you ever done pull tabs? Do you like pull tabs?
I have absolutely no idea what that is.
Oh, really? Is that only that's a different thing apparently. So it's like this pull tabs are like this novelty essentially that you can buy at bars up here in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a novelty because people can make money off them, but it's a gambling thing where you pay $20 and you get 5 pull tabs and you open them up and they essentially work kind of like a slot machine. If you get like the right combination, you can turn them in and make money.
Huh. Pull tabs.
Pull tabs.
Is that like those things that the advent calendars where you like pull a little chocolate? Is that what that like? No, that's what I'm visualizing.
Well, you're exactly right. Yeah, no. So there's that little cardboard like sort of pull.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're lucky you didn't run into any of those.
Forget about it. I wouldn't have been able to afford the flight home if I didn't pay for it in advance.
Oh man.
there's just something about like chasing that high, and I've never experienced this in like a proper casino. Like I've never felt that way, but with these cards, and it's something that ultimately is progressive. You're not losing anything. Right. You're just adding to your stockpile.
You're gaining. You're gaining things.
So, and I just, God, that is just so.
Yep, you're right. It's very devious.
It's like it's them getting your PIN number and your routing number and your checking account number. Like it's everything. They'll take everything.
Obviously,
sorry.
It doesn't work on some people.
Right. Yeah. But anyways, so I spent $15.
Darian with the Force.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
You're
free
to play. My tricks don't work on me. So, anyways, I spent $15. I'm sitting pretty now. I've whelped quite a few little bastards in that game. I named them
$50 on this Fallout game.
No, not 50.
Oh, 15. Oh.
So it's a month subscription. I'll play it until Fallout 4 launches. So that's my line in the sand on that one. I'm good with that. I haven't noticed any more shortages. I'm sitting pretty in all departments and resources. All my dwellers have
I'll
little
need to try
items.
it out when I have access to it.
I'm thinking you're going to buy some cards, man,
yeah,
and
probably.
I need you to be honest with me when it happens.
I will. I mean, I'm absolutely telling you the things that, like, I'm happy to tell you the things that I would probably be shameful of the money that I've spent on them, but I don't know the exact amount to essentially like bring shame upon my head and household.
Right.
You know?
Well, so I'll do it for you. You'll just shame vicariously through me.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I haven't had the WoW subscription, but the amount of money that I've spent on this hobby is probably substantial, and the shame would come. You know, so
right.
I'm right on board with that.
I think it's just a liberating conversation to have, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's transparent.
One of the things that I would like to finish this conversation with is
wait, we didn't finish yet.
Oh no!
Pause that real quick.
Okay.
One more game in the Blizzard franchise.
Yeah,
I've been
StarCraft
playing it a lot with Chris.
Oh, Here's the Storm.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that game will take your money because the shit's not cheap in that game.
Well, yeah, I'd say so. I'm glad that they have the sales system rolling in now, so that's nice. So you can pick up things on the cheap. But what's your wager?
If I were to guess on Heroes of the Storm, I mean, I'd probably say like $200.
Close. I'm at $260.74. Okay. I honestly thought it would be higher.
Yeah.
But the saving grace, at least with the Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm expenditures, I've been doing this thing where I have like a rotating inventory of console games, and I'll just turn those in to GameStop. I know everyone hates that, but I'll turn them in for there, and I'll just get Blizzard cash. So nice. I'll play games quickly, and then I'll just turn them back over. Like Master Chief, I finished Halo 4 a couple weeks ago, turned that in along with a couple other games I'd finished, get some money. It just goes to the Blizzard fund. I know it's going to be spent eventually. It's just like, I'll just kind of... It won't come out of my bank account, you know.
Right.
So that money is already spent as far as I'm concerned. So that's a little bit of a saving grace there. So anyways, last thing that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I mean, we're in this era where everyone's trying sort of the free-to-play model. And especially in the Destiny community recently, there's been a lot of bitching about, you know, what is the value of certain content, and that idea of being owed content and being, you know, because the game released in a subpar you know, state, that they're like, well, they should just make it up for, you know, they should just, you know,
they want
make
like
it up
dividends
by releasing.
retroactively.
They want, you know, free stuff. You know, if this is something that you consider, if video gaming is something that you consider a hobby, and you're playing a lot of free-to-play games, you know, and it's not a divisive measure by any means, but, you know, consider where your money is going and support the people that you want to support. You know, if retroactively, like, you've spent, you know, 1,000 hours in Destiny, or, you know, you've spent 300 hours in Rust or something like that. You know?
just an oddball number. Just arbitrary throwing it out there.
A number out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, if when they release their next game or when they release new content, consider giving them money for their efforts, because these are guys and gals out there that are just, they're trying to make a living and make something fun in a very lucrative and very, to be honest, like stressful and strenuous market, because there's just so much content out there, and they're trying to make money. If you have fun with something, give them more money, or especially in the free-to-play model, like consider giving them some money. And it's something that, you can think about,
that's kind of where my head's at, and I really find it hard to regret the money I've spent, just because of the times I've had and the people I've met with. I mean, you, for example,
right?
You right here that
to
I'm
pull a
podcasting
name out of the hat,
with.
Right?
Yeah, like we met through League of Legends, and
right, which was a free-to-play game that we sunk money in.
Yeah, I have no problem spending money on that, and the other part of it is just, if I enjoy something, I'm gonna invest in it, and maybe my $2,000. This is a grand total for Blizzard. $2,450. That paid like one guy's paycheck in the last 8 years. Maybe
right.
like a low-level employee.
Like a couple weeks.
Yeah, like some low-level employee.
Right.
Big whoop. Like, I'm really keeping the Blizzard ship afloat, but it's not.
You're
that.
happy to do that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so I see the value in having fun, and I don't know.
It's a tricky spot for consumers and enthusiasts, because you have something like Netflix that, it's $15 a month and you get unlimited access to all these different shows, But obviously the video game experience is a much more singular experience. I don't know. It's something to think about and something to consider.
Yeah, I would advise you to just, any listeners who are traditionally kind of skeptical or resentful towards that free-to-play model, and they don't really see the value, and they see the developers
or to paying
as
for
money
expansions.
Expansions.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just, in my mind, this is something that I love doing. This is I've been in this hobby. I'd call it more of like a lifestyle at this point, honestly. Like, it's so integral to my overall happiness, and this is what I love to do, and this is the hobby that is so easy to bond with other people over. And I've met even more people through Chris now, like just these people you meet through osmosis of these games and the experiences you share. And I can't find myself kicking myself anytime soon for this.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's fun to think about it as, it's fun to think of the person creating it. That's what I like, and that's why I think like community managers and then like community outreach for these gaming companies is so important. Even if sometimes they slight the consumer, I think that kind of stuff, that sort of like recognizing the guy on the other, the creator of what you're enjoying, is super important.
Well, it ties back into what we also talked about in the first episode about the creation, and how people usually will see that creation and they'll kind of like they'll admire it and they'll respect it a lot. But when you have that kind of, there's that distance, you see a lot of people really behind these music artists and like actual artists, like painters and sculptors and everything else, and they're just like, these people are amazing, blah blah blah, but they don't see like the video game creators as artists, and they see it as kind of like this money hungry corporation, and it's just not quite the same.
There's some truth to that in some forms, but you remember like the little guy too, that
Well, I just think that part is missed. There's a disconnect there. I don't think gamers like think that there's a person on the other end. They just see the company,
right?
And they don't. I don't know. It's tough, but I think there's just not that sort of exposure.
Especially when so many people are like, it's hard to develop that relationship when so many people are just blindly spending money, right, on the product, whether it's like Call of Duty, or whether it's or whether it's Blizzard products, like it's hard to see, like, well, you're just giving them money, where's the responsibility to the consumer? And not every company is like Blizzard, where they do right by their consumer most of the time, so there's a little bit of like, send a message with your wallet.
Well, the other part, though, when we're talking about like tying a face to who's on the other end, and you see what's the CEO for Activision for Destiny or Bungie rather? Sorry,
I don't know who the CEO is.
The guy who did the interview the other day.
The interview, Luke Smith. It was he's the lead designer, former community manager.
Lead designer rather. Yeah. So not the CEO. Lead designer. So you have this guy going out there and saying these things that are like, I don't care. Go ahead. You're going to buy it. You're not going to buy it. You know, you have these people who are so indifferent towards their consumers, and that's the face that people associate and have like all this ill will with. So I think, if you want to incite people to spend money on your game, put a face behind it and put some like personality,
right? And even after the Luke Smith situation with Destiny, where he basically kind of was an asshole to the community and said, "We know you're gonna buy it. Like, you're used to buying things. Like, of course you're gonna buy it because you're spending money in the game." It's like that's not the problem isn't with me buying it. I just like to have some transparency and be treated with respect
and some dignity,
Right, exactly. And so as soon as this whole fiasco happened because his interview didn't print well and it got passed around the internet and the video didn't get passed around of them joking around and saying you're gonna throw money at the screen, because it was between two friends. Essentially, it was a friendly conversation. It gets turned into this vitriol of, they're trying to get our money. Like we need to get what's owed to us. Like it becomes this battle. Whereas there's just it was just a poorly worded interview, essentially. So, and then he apologizes. He says, "If you don't know me, my name is Luke Smith, and I've known this guy for a while because I used to follow OneUp.com." Religiously, and the One Up Show, which were gaming journalists at the peak of internet gaming journalism and journalism content. And this guy was front and center with a lot of the Halo content that was out during Halo 2, Halo 1, Halo 3. And he can be a little scathing at times, but he got hired by Bungie because of his passion and fun-loving nature and sarcasm, the whole package. And so when he comes out and he says, "Look, I'm sorry if you don't know me, I can come across that way, absolutely." But in previous interviews and interviews with Giant Bomb and things like that, he truly cares about the game. And so when we see a guy that kind of botches up like a PR event and things like that, and I see a guy that I've known to be a funny guy and appreciated his content over the years, and he kind of slights the community, acts like an asshat, and then all of a sudden, the next week, of course, it's probably Activision saying, "Hey, you got to apologize because this either that or you're going to get fired. You got to apologize." Of course, he apologizes, but it's from the heart. Like the guy cares about the game, and what we're really seeing is probably ourselves in that position, a tough spot of. I know that this game is profitable. I'm really excited about it. I probably don't come across really well on camera or in the written print. And all of a sudden I make a botched effort, and then I have, hundreds of thousands of fans that are up in arms.
It's a tough situation, but you need to be very careful in today, especially. I just think the level of momentum that gets behind some of these rants against these companies or individuals is just crazy. So
it's out of control.
Just needs to be managed a little more diligently.
Yep. Put your money where you want to spend it, and the products that you think are nice. Don't let don't essentially go with the little minor waves that are coming in and out of companies. I guess in this case,
it's like early access. Stay away from Ark.
Oh man, I'm still gonna get behind that.
You are?
I'm gonna get behind. Stay away from it because.
Oh, I thought you meant get behind getting back into it. I was like, what?
No, I mean, the early access problem is an epidemic, and we'll need to talk about that in a future episode. But yep, that's a problem, and it's recognizable. I think one of the fellas on the Giant Bomb podcast asked some of the creators from Microsoft. Actually, it was Phil Spencer, I think, and another guy that was behind Halo 5, just asking a question. He's like, so what's it going to take for games to stop shipping in a semi-broken state?
Yeah,
and
really.
They were like,
Yeah,
it's
just
like, they didn't know. Yeah, it was like, we can always patch it later now with this technology,
It's like, yeah, no one cares about that though.
Yeah.
Like, well, we talked about before, like, you built up to this date that you've set on the calendar, you've gotten from E3, you're like, that's the date, then I'm going to play that game, it's going to be awesome. And it comes, and it's broken as hell.
SimCity, right?
Yeah, SimCity was a train wreck. Train wreck.
Oh, I can't play my game. I can't play the game that I gave you money for.
Just brilliant. It's very demoralizing.
Like,
as
even
a
in a
consumer.
broken state, I can't even play it. Like, oh my.
It's hella stoops.
Oh, but the backlash from stuff like that is righteous, and the voices are being heard. And I think that now that we're seeing Microsoft and Sony show more games and say these are the dates, and Microsoft has something like the Master Chief Collection that is like released in a broken state, and we have more early access crap coming out. They're paying more attention, and the developers are paying more attention to, let's try and make sure we're remembered for a game coming out at release, spot on, and just like everyone's minds are blown by our experience, then they couldn't play it the day that they wanted to, and they needed to wait for a patch.
That is some serious, not good. Not good.
So, well, if it's all right with you, Myles, I think we might call this
let's sign it
podcast.
off.
We'll sign it off. It has been a very good discussion in the second round of the Daily Grind. We'd appreciate it if any listeners would follow us at Daily Grindcast on Twitter. That's at Daily Grindcast.
Cool.
Interact with us on our website if you'd like. Leave comments. That's thedailygrindpodcast.com. That's sponsored by Squarespace. That did a really nice job.
Yeah, the site looks great.
Yep, it's nice and clean.
The embedded video, the trailer was really good, so everything looks good. Sharp.
Yeah. Good. So seek us out on the internet. We're on the second page. If you look up The Daily Grind, we're on the second page of Google search. And we hope to see you guys soon and interact with you on the internet. So thanks for joining us on The Daily Grind. Again, contact us with your thoughts, questions, concerns, considerations at Daily Grindcast.
Or how much
Twitter.
you've spent in games, because
Yes.
we need to know.
Yes, please come to the confessional. Anyways, we will be seeing you next week on The Daily Grind Level 6.
Ding.